Boy, I sure do love Canada, especially when it starts getting cold and I get sick all the freaking time. What's up, Samurai? We are back in Trove, and we finally have a new patch. Oh my goodness gracious. Yes, that's right. We've got the Trouble with Titles. I don't think that they realize how fitting the title of this patch is, because the trouble with titles is the fact that it's not interesting. So anyways, we're going to go to the patch notes today. It's going to be a longer video. Generally speaking, to summarize, this is the stuff that was on the test server. You know, we got the Cosmic Dragon changes, and player titles. That's the biggest thing. It doesn't necessarily affect the game in any way, shape, or form other than the vanity aspect of it. I'm gonna have to actually turn off my HUD mods. Hopefully this update will end up getting modded or updated, I mean, so that we can actually see it properly. But yeah, anyways, we get to change all of our titles and stuff, and we'll get into all of that. So let's get into it, because it's a pretty lengthy patch notes, despite the fact that it doesn't really add much in terms of content. You can actually already see one of the titles right there on is his name Dark Lord Destroyer or Glitzy? Like, I'm so confused. Okay, so titles are a new way to spruce up names. Accessible from the top of the character sheet is a button that will open the title selector. This is the same button that previously allowed players to select the color of their name, so it's just going to end up being the little pencil icon. The title selector UI can be used to equip one title prefix, one title suffix, along with changing the selected name color and adjusting visibility settings for the player's name. While some of the methods of acquiring titles may grant mastery, titles themselves are intended to be purely cosmetic and grant no mastery. So meaning that in order to get, like, let's just pretend that there's a title that says I own Gonda, right? And you would unlock it by unlocking Gonda. So Gonda itself is going to give you the mastery, but the title is unrelated. That's what they're trying to say. Hundreds of titles can be found across Trove, with 4 major ways of acquiring them. Automatically on logging in for having certain metric values, so a certain amount of daily logins, crafted at the title certificate stamper workbench in the hub, which we'll go see that guy in a minute, crafted at the Dragon Crucible in the hub, and obtained from the terrific title Trove, found in the More tab in the store, or sold by Stampy and Captain Yabara. So I honestly don't know why they've added so much. Like, as with anything with Trove now, there are quite a few paid methods to get certain cosmetic titles, and it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, it doesn't affect game in any way. So why do it? So anyways, yeah, $750 for 33 of those, and one super big rare temporary title, by the way. Temporary, yes, that's right. Because they're going to end up having seasons in this game for whatever reason, despite the fact that the game still doesn't have a battle pass, which is odd. But $750, I mean, that's, you know, you're still going to have to spend at least $5 minimum. Anyways, it's not that bad. It's just confusing to me. So they've got a lot of different categories to go through. Again, I'll try to set up timestamps for these because it's a lot. They've got a section for metric titles, a title registrar, draconic titles, terrific titles, and then a couple other more important things. So let's just get through it. Oh boy. Okay. Metric titles are awarded for passing certain thresholds for various player metrics, such as enemies defeated, blocks destroyed, etc. The title system will reassess eligibility for metric titles with every login or world change. For example, the title of The Powerful is available once a player has at least 20 KPR on any class. But if the player changes their equipped gems and gear so that no class has 20 KPR, basically when you end up going into a new world or relogging into the game, it's going to unequip that title and get rid of it for you. But of course, re-equipping gems and gear to get that power rank again will end up restoring the title. Though not all metrics have titles, they can be viewed using /metrics or export them on PC using export metrics. Export metrics. I'm going to definitely probably make a video of that, because generally speaking, that is probably going to be like our total amount of time played and stuff like that. I mean, the metric system in this game is tracked very poorly, but anyways, moving on, there's going to end up being the title registrar. I think it's supposed to be title register, but they like mistyped it or something. I don't know. No, never mind. They did on purpose. So Stampy, the title Registrar, maybe that's a word that I just have never seen in my life. This NPC can be found in the hub in his Cubesley approved RV kiosk. He can be recognized by his large stamp, his glasses, tie, and the fact that he is a giant nerd. So that's going to be him right here. He's supposed to be a sloth. A quintessential bureaucrat. God, words are hard for me today. Stampy only works Monday through Friday for whatever reason. The amiable Marcos Ybarra, which is the retired captain in the Trove, and they're trying to add lore for whatever reason. That's cute. Anyways, they've got a different NPC that's going to show up on the weekend, and he's going to end up selling a bunch of different title items. So using the title certificate stamper, which is a workbench, this right here. We can basically, I guess, put that in our club worlds and stuff. But Stampy can help you craft titles, prefixes, or suffixes. Stampy only sells 1 stamp per day because 1 is all anyone could ever need. Each title recipe will return this stamp upon completion of the recipe. So it's a very weird system where I guess, okay, where they're trying to nickel and dime us. Taxes, titles, bureaucrats. What's going on with Trove, dude? This should be called like the boring update. That should be the title of the update. Anyways, there's over 30 titles available by default on the Trovian document stamper, but players can unlock many more titles by finding certificates of title out in the wild and consuming them. So basically it's like a recipe scroll. There are some rumors of a cursed vanity lurking around the area, and apparently players can craft their own. Why would anyone ever want to have one of those around? I don't know what they're talking about. I don't see anything. So, well, there's our cursed vanity, but I can't craft or interact with it for whatever reason. Nice pixel art on the mirror, honestly. So next we've got the Draconic titles. This was pretty bad on the test server, so we'll go through it. Always looking to capitalize on popular trends, the Dragons of Trove have formed a noble... Yeah, except for the dragon coins. That's not on trend. That's just old and dated. Anyways, they formed a noble council and blah, 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 blah. They have seasonal rent across to their over 60 fancy... Oh my god. Okay, so they got 60 new titles. That'll end up expiring after a certain amount of time. So Draconic title recipes are available at the Dragon Crucible, found in the hub. You can craft it in club worlds, at least based on an old crafting table that got overhauled. Each Draconic title can be crafted during a single Trovian season, which conveniently happened to be the same season as the Northern Hemisphere of Earth. So conveniently for anyone located in the Northern Hemisphere at least. Winter starts December 1st, spring starts March 1st, summer starts June 1st, and fall starts September 1st. So access to a Draconic title lasts for the season in which they were rented, plus the following season as well. So in other words, yeah, it's pretty standard. Essentially, they are saying that the Draconic title will last between 3 and 6 months, depending. Draconic titles can only be crafted by players who have the associated dragon unlocked in the collections menu. Anyone with the O Lantern suffix definitely owns the Draco Lantern dragon, for example. Each Draconic title requires a seasonal Draconic essence to craft. Glacial essence appear in winter, burnt essence in fall, yada, yada, yada. You guys get the idea. Conveniently, the Draconic browser merchant nearby will sell up to 15 diluted Draconic essence in 5 batches, 3 of each. You can see right here, very overpriced for dragon coins. Absolutely, like, I hate this. Such a stupid mechanic. They can be used at the Dragon Crucible to craft the current season's essence. These diluted essence products restock each month. Alternatively, the current season's essence can be uncommonly obtained from Greater Dragon caches. So essentially that means that Greater Dragon caches now have a chance of dropping these useless garbage items, which means that they have less chance of dropping the items that you actually want. Now, again, as usual, the devs put a really high value on these items to kind of give it a perceived value, despite the fact that I don't think anybody's going to see the value in these items, because that is a lot of dragon coins. That's more than the average amount of dragon coins it takes to craft a dragon. And all you get is 3 of these, which ultimately craft you a temporary title. Nah, dog, don't make sense to me, especially when each of these, as you can see, costs an abundance of weird resources. They also do cost as we can see, a burnt draconic essence. Is that the same as this one? No, that's a diluted one. Okay, so a burnt one, I assume is, yeah, right here. So it takes, so it takes 3 diluted ones to craft a singular title. And they want you to basically craft this for a title that's going to last 3 to 6 months. No. Now they're moving on to the terrific title Trove. So this is the box that we saw in the cash shop right here, this green super rare one. It contains 1 random temporary title unavailable elsewhere in the game. Unlike certificate titles, these titles can be consumed directly and do not need to be unlocked and then crafted. Generally, the titles from this box can be traded or placed on the market, so that's cool, as well as loot collected. I don't know why you would loot collect them. This box does have a karma bar. Additionally, a truly terrific title Trove guaranteeing a rare result is available when purchasing the 33 pack. Okay, I see. So the terrific title Trove is these brown boxes actually, but this green one is the one that gives you the guaranteed drop rather than these that are karma based. So common and uncommon titles from this box last a week. Well, they last until weekly reset. So if you got this on Sunday, it would expire on the daily reset when it goes into Monday. So while rare titles usually last a month and can contain embedded metrics within the titles to show to other Trovians. So I guess it would be like, oh, you could have a title that's like, I've been playing this game for 300 days or something like that, right? Frankly speaking, I really don't care about the titles. It's just like, okay, I want to be clear about something here. I think that the titles as they are actually really cool. Is it dated? Is this something that should have been in the game years ago? Yeah, more than likely. Is it something that the developers should have spent the necessary amount of man hours and labor coding and adding into the game? No. God, no. Like are they trying to make Trove go bankrupt? Are they trying to make Gamago see this game as a flop and just cancel the servers? Like, this game needs to generate money to stay alive. So I don't know why they're not constantly delivering the content that we, the players, actually asked for. But whatever. Okay, devs, you do you, I guess. It's strange because it's not an indie game. Anyways, controller support, that's going to be the next big thing. So they got controller support, beta, the beta version. Most of all, this is going to end up affecting us on PC. So this is going to be quite a big deal because I think that it could possibly be a very easy transition for those of you that are on console and considering coming to PC, but all you know is playing with a controller. So, you know, anything to make that transition more seamless to me is always great, because a lot of you on console always suffer from the fact that these updates are very slow for you guys, and that Trove is barely functional on console. It crashes all the time and stuff. I mean, it depends on the version that you're playing. Xbox is the best, obviously, because it's running on Windows OS, but anyways. Players can now switch their inputs between controller and keyboard and mouse without having to restart the game. A notification will appear saying that controller is plugged or unplugged. Please note there are definitely still issues with using controller on PC, so this is being considered as a beta feature. Players cannot enter controller input mode while the gamepad option is disabled, so you gotta go into your settings and change that. Players can have up to 4 controllers recognized by the game at a time rather than being locked to the one that is in the first controller slot. Please be aware that switching between controller and keyboard inputs will cause some dialog windows to close. Players can now select their preferred UI by going to the settings and controls, and basically you can change it so that it's automatic, so it'll swap between what control option was used last. So if I tap on my keyboard, it would show keyboard stuff. If I moved on my controller, it would swap all the hotkeys to controller hotkeys. The other thing that could be really, really nice about this on PC anyways, is for people like me, you know, you guys that are at the end game and we're trying to swap our gems, it's usually a very meticulous process of clicking and dragging our gems from our inventory over here and back and forth. But now if we have access to controller a lot more easily, we could just, like, you know, click the buttons the same as people do on controller. But Anyways, you can force it so that the UI shows the controls for controller or mouse and keyboard. Please note that PC players will default to keyboard and mouse rather than automatic. Players who force an input method they don't have available might need to find their trove.config file and change the value of it manually. I'll put links in the description to the patch notes so you can read all that jargon. They adjusted the UI panel to now work properly on PC when using controller. Joining club members via the club UI is now disabled on PC specifically. Wait, what? I didn't even know we could join. Wait, can we join people through our club? I've never done it. Where? Where do you get to join people? Like, I don't... Weird. Okay, I didn't even know that that was a thing. Editing the bomb permissions for the president is now available with a controller. Ooh, ooh. So they've added a bunch of new dungeons, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different dungeons to a bunch of different biomes. They added a bunch of different styles to the game, so get your style stash, to unlock them. They added a bunch of new decorations as well. I'm not sure. Lots of these seem to be Draconic Workbench, Frontier Workbench, the Island Workbench. I don't know what the Island Workbench is. I guess that's Treasure Isles. So then there's going to end up being the additional changes. So I don't even know. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that dragon's name. The Cosmic Dragon has been changed, and it now actually has its function different. So we did talk about this in its own dedicated video, but they changed it so that the dragon will only give you the buff when you have it equipped, and it'll give you 5 increased jump as well as increased jump height. Now you can actually see the buff in the top left. It's a very small icon, but it is constantly resetting. So you can kind of cheese it where you wait for it to reset, get off the mount, and then you still retain the super jump while off of the mount. So you could just get on it really quickly, so long as the timing is done well enough to end up getting that super jump. So let's wait for it to run out, get on the mount, get off. And yeah, there you go. So this is actually going to be one of the best methods for vertical traversal. It actually ultimately ends up being better than Gonda and Volatile Bounder, which is pretty crazy when you think about it, just because the verticality in Trove has always kind of suffered. I mean, let's face it, it suffers in every game except for Tears of the Kingdom with the Ascend ability. But anyways, essentially, while Volatile Bounder is better for quick bursts where we would just bomb our way and get right up here, for anything further than the height limit of Volatile Bounder, that cooldown that the mount has, this is going to end up being much more efficient at getting that verticality, especially for your jumps and so on and so forth. And the fact that you can get off the mount while still retaining the height bounce is really nice. It's not as, the dragon is still not worth crafting, but it's definitely a step in the right direction. Now they just gotta make it cheaper. An introduction quest line for the star chart system has also been added to the game. So you just talk to the Celestial in the star chart area. We can see that there's actually 12 steps to that side quest. So maybe we'll tackle that in another video if we even bother, because frankly speaking, we've already got the star chart maxed. I think it's great that the game is introducing it to new players though. They adjusted badge weights relative to each other. So newer players should see badges auto sort in a more logical manner when viewing badges section of the adventure UI. So when you end up opening this and opening the badges, these are going to essentially show up in a way that makes more sense. So you can kind of see like the way that these are set up. These are like the closest badges to being complete now, rather than just showing like the top badges in very specific weird order. It's just, it's cleaner now. What can I say? So they fixed an issue that was preventing a frontier dungeon from appearing in the Desert Frontier biome. Some of the dungeons in Geode Topside, Fey Forest, Permafrost, Medieval Highlands, and Treasure Islands biomes have been slightly adjusted to provide a better combat experience. I haven't really noticed any difference between those dungeons, honestly, but I don't know which dungeons were affected by it. Fixed an issue that was preventing the Font of Knowledge fixture from properly giving bonus XP. So I guess they broke that. That's hilarious. Decoy emblems should now properly take enemy aggro. Has that been in the game for years? I mean, nobody uses the decoy emblem, so I don't blame them for only fixing it this late into the game. But it's still, that's funny. Uber 10 and 11 gem boxes should now count for Gemsley's tutorial on gems and how they work. I guess you could have gotten to the end of the game and gotten into U11 while still having Gemsley's tutorial without being able to complete that quest with those gem boxes. I don't know. Fixed an issue that could prevent Jade Scarabs from appearing in Forbidden Spire's delves. Okay. The Robo Raptor mount and Balefire wings are now visible in the collections, even if locked. Really? Okay. So that's Robo Raptor. Oh, Roboraptor Mountain. Okay, so these I guess they didn't show up for everybody unless you had them unlocked. That's interesting. I don't know why they have that, but okay. Stormcaller wings can now be found under the store category. That's what? Under the store category? Do they mean the more category? Like what? Or the style category? No, more? Style? What are they talking about? Yeah, okay, Stormcaller wings. Yeah, so for whatever reason, that's right. I forgot that those wings were actually removed from the store a long time ago. I guess they finally added them back. I don't know. Recipe Clam Chow can now be deconstructed or loot collected. They still call it deconstruction in their patch notes for some reason. Anyways, that's going to do it for the patch notes, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, my feedback towards the update is very apparent. I don't like this update, or more so I should say, it is kind of another fruitless update that is useless and doesn't really add any incentive for me to log in and play the game. And honestly speaking, it doesn't really, like, it doesn't get me excited or get me anything that I could cover on the game. You know, like there's no new content to farm or anything like that. It's kind of ridiculous. But anyways, with all of that said, thank you so much for watching. Oh, the next Leviathan video, I'm working on it. Okay, I've just been very busy with stuff, but I know that a lot of you guys have been whining and complaining in my Solarian Leviathan video saying Boomeranger's the strongest. Shut up, because if I talk about Boomer being the strongest, he'll get nerfed again. So be quiet, guys. Anyways, with all of that said, I appreciate you guys watching and I hope you enjoyed. Smash like on the way out. It would help me tremendously. Sayonara and stay epic, everybody.